Hey, hi everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. So today, I think the focus is going to be on yet another individual system design component, and it's called API gateways. Before we get into the discussion, I hope you have liked the content so far, and if you have, please like and subscribe my channel. Do leave comments on the videos of asking about questions or any specific topic that you feel needs to be covered, right? So getting into the details of API gateways, right? So what are API gateways? So API gateways are basically cloud based services that act as an entry point, right, for all your application and services, right? So essentially think of it as like a single point of passage, right, for all the interactions that happen. um, Definitely, I think API gateways secure the interaction, with the external APIs and microservice, and also think of it as a centralized platform, right, for managing security and monitoring API traffic. So here, for example, right, let's look at maybe an e-commerce service provider, right, that gives you a lot of different kind of services, right? So let's say you have catalog services, you have payment authorization services, you have product recommendations, you have order management, and you have cart services, right? So essentially, API gateway is from your web application or your mobile application is a single source or a single point of entry into all of these microservices, correct? Now, coming to the key features, right? What are some of the key features, and why should you care about API gateways? Like, and where are these API gateways going to be useful, right? I'll touch back upon where these are useful. And if you recollect, I think we have discussed this in one of our system design end-to-end case study, right? So I'll come back to that, but before going into that, let's look at some of the key features, right? So what does API gateway provide in terms of the capabilities, right? So it provides you management. So it's essentially a platform for managing APIs, right, across different environments. So think of your entire stack, which has got a developing, testing, staging, and production environments. You can use, I think, API gateways across all of these, to test out different capabilities. As part of the management, you can also look at creating, editing, and deleting APIs, right? It does provide authentication and authorization as well for these APIs, right? Security is another big component, of APIs, and it does give you security features such as SSL, TLS encryption, authentication, authorization, right? This is basically to protect APIs from unauthorized access. Now, also it supports authentication protocols such as OAuth, OID, and so on and so forth. Now, what are these authentication protocols? So, example would be that if you're using Google to log into, let's say, any third-party website, right, or any other website, right, a payment website, right. So, the payment authorization, the payment website is going to ask Google for your credentials. Google is going to provide. It's going to be a handshake between these two independent, I would say, services. And OAuth is basically an authentication, protocol that you should be aware of, right? In terms of traffic management, right, it does API gateways do provide a lot of capabilities for load balancing, routing, and quota management, right? And uh, also think about, I think, traffic management as traffic management as a capability within API gateways that is helping you to seamlessly control majority of the components related to the scaling. So when you're scaling your system, all of these components will come into picture: the load balancing, routing, and quota management, right? So this is directly related to traffic when you're actually scaling up, right? It can also obviously provide analytics and monitor, the API performances, right? Now, in terms of the integrations, right, it does support some of the protocols, integration like REST, GraphQL, gRPC, and WebSocket. Uh, Platform support, as far as different vendors are concerned, it does provide on AWS, Lambda, S3, DynamoDB, right? We will touch upon, I believe, I think, two different kind of API gateways, and that will clarify for you like a single vendor providing the service versus, let's say, an open source, right? So we'll get into that, but continuing, I think, on the key features, also looking at scalability, right? API gateways definitely support large volumes of traffic, right? Goes without saying. Otherwise, there is no point of doing the load balancing, routing, and quota management, right? It's a highly available and scalable architecture that can handle millions of records per second. So, correct. Again, in terms of monitoring logs, that it also provides you the capabilities to look at API performances and do troubleshooting. Right now, I think one of the key reasons why this is important from a system design perspective is, if I look at the design of a messenger system, right, where we had talked about this whole concept of the end-to-end system design, where we had the chat server, queues, transient server, API services, notification, right? So here is your API gateway that is sitting between all of these different, I would say, services, and between your web application or the mobile application, right? So connected back to what we had actually done in an end-to-end, system design, we had definitely touched on these aspects, that how are the clients actually getting, or interacting with the different individual components, the system components, right? So coming back to, I think, the popular API gateways, I think Amazon definitely gives you a host of features under one vendor. So I think it's a less overhead as far as developers are concerned, or maintenance costs are concerned. So what are some of the features that Amazon API Gateway provides? I think it does obviously give you multiple tasks that can handle almost 100,000 concurrent API requests, right? It does give you control on your traffic, security, authorization and access control, and again monitoring and version control, right, for performance management of APIs, right? We do have, I think, another one which is called Kong HQ. It's an open source API management platform. One of the benefits, obviously, being open source is that it's highly customizable, right? It does provide integrations, to plug in on the L4, L7 networking layers, right? And then it gives you a full API control. You can do a design, you can do a run, secure, and govern your APIs, right? So again, there is no right or wrong, I would say, answer to which selection of API gateway is better. It's all going to depend on your system requirement. So, for example, if you are looking at building a very customizable kind of an system, then Kong HQ is the preferred choice. But if your objective is that you want to spend less time in developing and more time in scaling up your architecture, right? Then obviously Amazon API Gateway becomes a popular choice, because you don't want to spend, as a business, more time in trying out, right? See, because with Kong HQ, I do give you that advantage that it is highly customizable. But at the same time, I think these customization will bring their own set of challenges, where the developers have to know about these integration. They have to know about what is available in what versions, right? So it's kind of an overhead for your developers, in house. Whereas Amazon is basically handling that end to end, right? Obviously, it's going to charge, for the services. But again, no right or wrong. It just depends on how the teams are structured for the business, right? So I hope this video was useful. We also did touch upon where it is useful in terms of system design, end to end concept. Uh, I think from here on, I think my focus on preparing videos would be less on technical concepts, because I think we have done enough on the technical part. Product strategy, I think, is what we will, see in the next few videos, and primarily hypothetical scenarios, right? So, for example, if I want to bring in capabilities of, let's say, tomorrow WhatsApp, launches a photo sharing application. What are you? How are you going to design it? Right? Open-ended question, pretty important. It will have its technical parts, but that's not the objective of these questions, right? The objective of these open-ended questions would be to understand the flow. How are you thinking about personas? who are going to be your users, right? So very less technical part, but overall, like, understanding, bringing out new feature, right? What are the different touch points I think that you will have in your existing WhatsApp, let's say, architecture, sorry, the current WhatsApp flow, not the architecture per se. So I think you stay tuned for that. And until next time, do like and subscribe the content, and we'll have a new video coming out soon.